Hey y'all, Strength More back here again. How are you? Hope all is well. You can probably tell by the title. Yes, it's a little bit of an announcement, but at the same time, it's also a little bit of clarification. To make a long story short, yes, I did graduate college. It's a long 4 years. I'm glad it's over. However, I may be going back to school, may not be going back to school. You know, that's the best way to describe it. The only reason why I say maybe or may not is because I'll be completely honest with you all. I was able to graduate debt free. Okay. And if you do want to graduate college, I would honestly recommend you all only attending college and graduating college if it's going to be debt free, knowing that you don't have to pay a single dime back. And to be honest with you, I knew that grad school was something that I didn't always want for me, just because honestly, after being in college for 4 years, college was a lot. And, getting a degree that I have, just for clarification, I have a Bachelor of Arts in Data Science with a concentration in psychology. And having that degree as well, it's really good enough. I'll be honest. Do I have to go back to school? No. But to further clarify, I would only go back to school if it was free. I honestly don't see the point of going to school for free and then not going to school for free. That seems rather backwards. I can understand if maybe someone went to school, had to pay for it, and then finally went for free. I could maybe see that, maybe get that. But yeah, so yeah, I don't know. That's why it's up in the air. And I told the admissions woman, just being completely honest and blunt, I literally told her, I said, hey, I only want to go if it's free. And that was it. Like, I was very straightforward and blunt about how I felt. And I say all that to say that, honestly, I graduated. Life feels a lot better. It's a lot more relaxing, a lot more relieving, a lot less stressful. I'm not in a college environment. College is not on my mind. I'm able to sleep a lot better. One of the biggest problems that I had in college, that I just couldn't go to sleep. It really felt like I was an undiagnosed insomniac. That's the best way to describe it. I couldn't go to sleep. I couldn't stay asleep, fall asleep. I just couldn't sleep, period. Anything that had to do with sleep, I couldn't do it. And I would literally be up for hours until I would finally just disappear. I don't know how to describe it. But that would happen, and now I can get into bed and go to sleep, and I'm fine. But I say all that to say, another thing was that you all probably wondering, where were the videos at? To be honest with you all, it was my senior year. My main motivation was to graduate. My main motivation was to get out. It was time for me to leave college. It was time for me to be done. And honestly, I just didn't feel like I could balance videos. I really couldn't. And it felt like, whether it was the first semester or the second semester, it's just something that I couldn't do. And matter of fact, let me not even say couldn't do. I simply put chose not to. And the reason why I chose not to is because I just wanted to be considerate of myself. One thing I'll tell you all is that we always talk about how you have to be considerate of others. Sometimes you have to learn how to say no to others, how to set boundaries, right? You also have to learn how to set boundaries with yourself. You also have to learn how to say no to yourself when there are certain opportunities that you maybe don't need, or certain opportunities that you maybe want, and just certain things that overall you may not understand at the moment are just simply put not for you. And I realized that I really couldn't properly balance making YouTube videos, and I just couldn't do it. I'm not gonna lie. I just felt like I really couldn't do it, and I didn't want to. I just chose not to because I was so busy. I was always around people. For y'all that don't know, I was a student body president. And so I was constantly staying busy, and the only time that I would even have to really relax would be when I was all alone sometimes. And honestly, when we're talking about late at night, those same nights where I couldn't go to sleep, those are some of the main moments that I could finally decompress, and finally feel like I was at peace of some sort. And I just couldn't manage videos with that. That's the best way to describe it. I didn't have the energy to set this camera up and put my thoughts into words, put everything going in my mind and just outputting it. I just didn't have the energy for it anymore. And I realized that in times of recent, ironically enough, even one of my coworkers, she was just like, hey, Trey, you need to start making videos again. And, my mind had been on this for a while because, when you're finally done with college, you can finally relax. You can finally just breathe for a second. And so knowing that, I decided, let me go and get back to doing this. And honestly, being done with college as well, I'm still working and whatnot, but I'm starting to realize that I have a lot more free time. And sometimes I just don't know what to do with it. Thankfully, I've kind of managed my time a lot more now because I actually am using my time a lot more productively in times of recent, and I'll explain in the next video. But I also won't explain completely, you know. But I say all that to say that I just feel like I'm a lot more ready to make videos again. You know, another thing is that I wasn't in my best state, you know, mentally, physically, and I don't think I could really produce videos. I just really didn't have the energy, didn't have the time, didn't have desire. And when you're in that type of mood, when it's just like nothing's working for you and it feels like you're just stressed out and just no matter what you do or how hard you try, like life is not going for you at all. Sometimes you just can't put forth your best product, or sometimes you just can't put forth a product at all. And that's how I felt. No matter how hard I tried, even though I had my little microphone thing in my room, I had my camera, I could go get my, you know, my tripod at any time. I just wasn't feeling it at all. But overall, as I said, I say all that to say that yes, I'm gonna try and attempt to get back to making these videos. And can I guarantee a certain frequency, a certain amount? No, I can't. All I can say is that I'm gonna try. I'm gonna try my best. But overall, it's Trench More back here again. I'll see you all later. Peace. Love you all.